Hey, go back on the.
Hello, everybody. In today's forecast, we're going to be discussing today's wave of storms. And yes, there is a more enhanced tornado risk today. It wouldn't surprise me if we see an isolated strong tornado today. Some very large hail and damaging wind gusts are also going to be a problem. So let's go ahead and hop right in here. Let's go into jet stream. The jet stream energy overall is actually kind of weak, but still enough jet stream energy to get some problems going. And right now, we do still have this low pressure system kind of chilling on the western coast, but going throughout the day, it will slowly shift eastward and give us more problems tomorrow. We can clearly see just how dipped this is here. Although it's not a very strong jet stream, it is still negatively tilted, and it is bringing up a lot of moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico, and it is sending out several pieces of energy, and it'll continue doing that throughout the weekend. Let's go ahead and go regional and go into South Central United States. Let's go and look at dew points. The moisture. H-triple-R model brings up low 70s across northwest Texas and southwest Oklahoma, and that should continue to kind of rise further north, where we are expecting supercells to fire from northwest Oklahoma into central Oklahoma, according to the recent model scans. Let's go ahead and start sweeping through. And that, like I said, that moisture throughout the day, including later this evening, does kind of pile up here in central Oklahoma. That is going to be a lot of fuel for plenty of storms, and we do still have that dry line situated way out west out here. And that's going to be a starting point for a lot of these storms. But then going into tomorrow, tomorrow, the dew points will kind of remain here, but the dry line will actually kind of situate itself further west. It'll kind of sit back here, and eventually it should move back east into the Texas Oklahoma panhandles. But right now there's just a lot of moisture, a lot of warmth, a lot of humidity in the atmosphere. Let's go to temperatures here, and already at 17Z, this is gonna be about noonish. We still have a lot of very warm temperatures out here in western Texas and southwest Oklahoma, and these are expected to continue to temperatures are expected to continue to warm up throughout the day into the evening hours. And any storms that go will be in a very, very good environment for any supercells, really, that can go up. And then early Sunday morning, things should cool down into the mid and upper 70s, low to mid 70s. Up here in Oklahoma, there should be a cool front somewhere up here. Uh, should be roughly like right here, maybe, where we have the temperature difference of 60s and 70s. So keeping a close eye on that boundary for sure. And then going through severe weather, let's go ahead and go to mixed layer Cape values. And all again today, with all that warmth, the heat, we are having a lot of very high Cape values out here. Some of these values reaching up to 4,000 joules per kilogram as of now, according to the this model. And throughout the day, it will continue to become unstable, especially down there in southwest Oklahoma, where there's a pocket of 5,000 joules per kilogram possible down there in southwest Oklahoma. But again, as that moisture continues to kind of fill in and rise, we could have some very, very serious problems here. Again, a couple pockets up to 5,000 joules per kilogram. And then throughout the night, the Cape value should lower, but the tornado threat will remain. And we can clearly see that moisture that kind of stays overnight. Okay, a bit of a warm sector, really, here, especially across central Oklahoma and northwest Texas, where we'll be dealing with 2,000 to 3,000 joule per kilogram Cape values. Let's go ahead and look at the significant tornado parameter. And again, we're already seeing some tornado parameters going up quite a bit here across western Oklahoma. And keeping an eye on that throughout the day. Again, we do have a more enhanced risk for severe weather. Boom. Look at that. 6.0. Very high tornado parameters out here in western Oklahoma. And it still is quite high throughout central Oklahoma as well. Again, this is a main concern area for possible isolated strong tornado or two. Again, very high tornado parameters. And then again, that should fizzle out overnight Sunday night or early Sunday morning, really. Going into reflectivity here, we did have a tornado warning last night. I don't know if it was confirmed or not, but this is the remains of that wave that came through last night across Oklahoma. Brought possible tornadoes about kind of in that area of that circle. Again, I'm not entirely sure if it was confirmed or not. I'll have to look back at it. But again, this is just kind of the remains of that first of that wave yesterday. And those should continue to kind of weaken out and fizzle off to the southeast, except for maybe one or two cells that need to be watched closely here as they cross the Mississippi. It would not surprise me if we get an isolated tornado out of those, but the main risk should be large hail and some damaging wind gusts. But those aren't expected to last long according to the HRRR model. But what we are watching for this evening and tonight is these supercells up here in central Oklahoma. This will directly influence Oklahoma City today. These are what's going to impact the most. That's what's leading that enhanced risk here. It should be more of a cluster, but right here it's picking up only like two major updrafts that need to be watched closely, especially this one further to the southwest. But Oklahoma City and surrounding communities such as Moore, Mustang, Yukon, El Reno, Norman, uh, Central Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, and surrounding areas need to be watching that extremely closely. I will be going live on that cluster later tonight, and we'll see more development throughout the day here, or sorry, night. We'll have another wave developing up here in Kansas, and perhaps more cells off in northeast Oklahoma. And this should scooch off down into northeast Oklahoma overnight and early Sunday morning, and we are expecting one final wave of severe storms during Sunday, and there is an enhanced risk out here across central and southwestern Oklahoma. Tornado risk not as high, still needs to be watched very closely. And then here's the Storm Prediction Center's outlook for today. We have this level 3 enhanced risk here across central Oklahoma. It does include Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Norman, and surrounding communities there, and a level 2 slight risk that stretches out to Arkansas, North Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, and a separate slight risk up here in Colorado that does include Denver. Tornado risk, there is a 2% risk out here across Colorado and southeast Wyoming. Maybe a isolated landspout tornado or two if possible up there. And further to the southeast, we have this 10% risk here in central Oklahoma. That is for that cluster supercells I showed you just a moment ago. Let's go ahead and go back here. It is for that cluster there in northwest Oklahoma City. That needs to be watched very, very closely. It kind of forms up near Woodward and quickly explodes off of that cold front that I mentioned earlier, and that should traverse down to the southeast. Again, Oklahoma City needs to watch this very closely. I am going to go and say we could get an isolated strong tornado. Not locked in, but it certainly is possible in this kind of environment. Again, we don't have strong jet stream winds, but the low-level winds are really strong, so if these storms can kind of anchor themselves on the lower winds, we could really have a problem there. And the 5% risk ranges from about Tulsa, northeast Oklahoma, down west of the Wichita Falls area of Texas. Again, needs to be watched very closely, and a large 2% risk ranges all the way out to Birmingham, Alabama, and the Alabama-Georgia border. And again, that is for that one lone cell or two I did mention crossing the Mississippi. But right now, the main risk is that tornado risk there in central Oklahoma. Wind, not as high of a risk. 60 to 70 mile per hour winds maybe across central Oklahoma, and that does stretch all the way out to almost the Alabama-Georgia border. But hail is another big risk. We could have some tennis balls, maybe baseballs out here in that 15% area where that slight risk is. They are in Colorado, which again does include Denver. And further to the southeast, we do have a 15% hatched risk ranging from the Midland and Lubbock areas of Texas that stretches northeast to the Tulsa area, where we have a 30% risk for softballs. So we can see tennis balls to softballs out here in this 30% risk across central Oklahoma. Watching that very closely for any kind of activity. And we do have a marginal risk down here in Florida, but that is only for 60-mile-per-hour winds and maybe some quarter size to golf ball size hail down there. But again, level 3 enhanced risk out of 5 for a couple tornadoes, maybe isolated strong and very large to ginormous hail.